Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm just really excited about the crowd that we have here for this little Zoom call to quickly go over some of the differences about Delta 8, Delta 9, what's hemp, what's marijuana, what's cannabis, and all the legalities. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen so we can go ahead and get started. Now, most of you have already participated with me in one of my other presentations just about marijuana, the medical marijuana program, some of the things we need to be concerned about and protecting the public, protecting our kids. And remember, we're going to be a little bit interactive today. So have your little chat ready so you can answer some questions and we can move on. So as you know, we have already discussed a lot of great sources to learn about marijuana. We know that it is not by the medical community considered legitimate medicine, though it is very interesting for some research. That what we have already in existence, we have medical cannabinoids already that are FDA approved. These are normally used for cancer patients, AIDS patients, muscle spasticity, some maybe for chronic neurogenic pain, and for seizure patients. It's already here. Down below on the lower left-hand side, you see what we have coming is this quote unquote medical marijuana program. It's a whole plant marijuana base. You cannot get this as a prescription from a doctor. You cannot get this from a pharmacy. This is where you get these quote unquote pot shops or dispensaries. That's that system. And what we're dealing with here is a little bit different. Let me just zoom on through so we can go ahead and deal with the name game. Let's just sum it up real quick. In other words, all marijuana is cannabis, but not all cannabis is marijuana. What are we talking about here? So cannabis is considered a genus, and then we get into various species. If you'll see on the right-hand side, an industrial hemp strain, it's 0.3% THC. Remember, THC is that psychoactive chemical that gets you the high. And then on your left, you have marijuana. And look, there's a lot more THC naturally found in this plant. And you can also tell by the appearance. So, okay, everybody, real quick review. Let me see you. Yes or no, Y or N. Is hemp cannabis? Yes, very, very good. Is marijuana cannabis? Yes, they're all cannabis, okay, but they're not necessarily all psychoactive. That's the key part. Another comparison. So hemp is considered less than 0.3% THC. Technically, though, they say at dry harvest. Marijuana has higher THC levels, the psychoactive part. Hemp's not supposed to be psychoactive. Marijuana produces the high feeling. And then down there at the bottom, hemp became legal under the federal farm bill in 2018. They said they wanted to have hemp be legalized for its industrial purposes, such as the fibers, but they forgot to mention a few key details, and that's where we come up with this quote unquote Delta 8 loophole or the Farm Bill loophole. And marijuana is federally illegal, but some states have legalized it for either medical purposes or for recreational. Christine, what's the difference? Is Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10, Delta 0, all these different deltas? What does that mean? Well, when you hear the delta, they're talking about THC. You see this THC molecule, there's just double bonds or a placement of a side group slightly differently. Okay, so I know you all had some Easter dinner. You were sitting around the table together, right? Okay, so let's say you have 9 chairs. You have 9 chairs at your table and you are sitting in chair number 9. And then someone asks you to swap and you sit in chair number 8. Are you still the same person? Yeah, absolutely. Are you still sitting at the same table? Yeah, but it's essentially the same environment. And that's really what we're talking about with these different deltas. It's still psychoactive, and that's the point. Because of this farm bill, all of these psychoactives have slipped through. We need to measure THC levels at end product. And we can't have things that make people high. The intent was not to get people high. The legislation was poorly written, and now we're dealing with the fallout. And this is what we're getting. All of these products you can get in stores all across Alabama, and all of these technically started as hemp. Even when we test these, they are taking the natural hemp and Frankensteining it basically into a synthetic marijuana. If your THC is going above zero point 0.3, you're not in hemp land anymore. The industry simply can't be trusted with accurate testing. So it really gets down to the fact that THC is THC is THC. We have children as early as third, fourth, and fifth grade now on these products. We've already talked about the baby, pregnancy use, autism, damage to the sperm. Many different types of birth defects can occur from exposure to cannabis. Cancer risk, child abuse risk, lots of accidental poisonings, deaths of children from abuse or neglect is highly linked to the influence of THC on the caregiver's brains. And these are the parts that are just the worst. A lot of these adults, these parents or grandparents, having the product, or maybe the child gets the product from school and they have the psychotic episode or they die. THC gummies are turning out to be one of the favorite types of candy for traffickers and pornography producers. So what can we do? What can we do legislatively? And this is the timely thing that we need to make sure that we take care of. I'm going to park right here. I'm featuring Alabama's Senate Bill 273. It is a fantastic bill. We also have to make sure that we're not accidentally legalizing recreational marijuana. Senator Weaver's bill also creates a safe space for the non-psychoactives like CBD and CBG. You could buy it through pharmacies. The pharmacies keep a well-tested certificate of analysis. They're already overseen by the DEA and by the pharmacy board. And then the ag department oversees it as well. We don't have to create a new government system. It's already there. And I ask that you go ahead and contact your senators, contact your House members, and say we really want something like SB 273, April Weaver's bill. Hey, y'all, thanks so much. Help make hemp natural again. Always reach out to me. Thank you for interacting on the chat with me. You're super smart. You are informed and ready to go. God bless you and have a great day.